So 2016 has come to a close, and it is finally time to talk about the best of the best from this year. Many people have complained about this year. They have said it's one of the worst movies, or one of the worst years in film in a long time. And while on the surface that may be true, it's not completely. In the blockbuster realm, it absolutely is. This is one of the worst summers we've ever seen. But when you dig down more into the indies and the less seen films, this was a very solid year. Forget Ghostbusters, forget all that shit, because there is more to this year. I'm not going to be making a top 10 worst list because I don't think I saw enough of the really bad movies this year to do that. Just know if I did, Allegiant would be on. Can't even say the name without laughing. So without further ado, let's get right into it with number 10 for me is Nocturnal Animals. Keep in mind, while I'm giving you this list, these are my favorite movies of 2016, not necessarily what I think are the best. So Nocturnal Animals is one of those movies that really makes you think after seeing it. It's not just you watch it in the theater and go home and say, yeah, that was really good. It makes you contemplate everything about it. The overall plot, the characters, what actually happened, and what actually didn't happen. Those are the movies that are really enjoyable to see. And like I said, not just see, but to really contemplate and think about when you're done watching the movie in the theater. There is a whole nother layer of this movie that requires you to unravel. And when a movie can give the audience an actual interactive experience to have, that's usually when a movie like this has done its job. Tom Ford does an excellent job portraying this eerie, creepy type of a film, which is why Jake Gyllenhaal appears in it, because apparently he's the guy to go to when you want to do a movie that's creepy or makes no sense. Zodiac, Donnie Darko, Enemy, Nightcrawler, this, like, it's just, I don't know what the hell it is about him, but there's something with it. Not only Jake Gyllenhaal, though, every performance in this movie is stellar. Amy Adams, Michael Shannon, Aaron Taylor Johnson, who I thought came out of fucking nowhere with his performance in this. And you're watching the opening credits, which, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. You see this cast just pour onto you that you didn't even know was a part of this movie. It's overall a really great experience to have in the theaters, and I would recommend it to most people. Number 9 is The Nice Guys. This is one of those movies that, again, you just don't really see much of anymore. It's this perfect crime noir type movie. I like to compare things like this to Kingsman. Movies that know exactly what they are and stick to it 100% the whole way through. That's how you should make a movie like The Nice Guys. It's funny, it's ridiculous, it's over the top, it's action-packed, it's interesting, it can even be dark when it needs to be. This is the perfect mix of everything, and the movie just knows what it has to be in order to accomplish that. Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling have just, like, the most unusual chemistry you would expect any actors to have. They're two very different actors, but they work so well on screen together. And honestly, for the first time, it looks like Russell Crowe is enjoying himself. This is the first time in years I've seen that. And that's enough for me to enjoy this movie. Guys, please go see this. No one saw it, and more people need to see this movie. It is just an amazing, fun movie to go see. My number 8 is Deepwater Horizon. This is a movie that perfectly represents what it was trying to represent. This just ridiculous disaster that not many people know the real story of. Sure, there were a lot of lasting effects that this oil spill caused, but this really puts you in the shoes of the people on that rig, desperately trying to survive, although there were some attempting to actually save the rig. You see the contrast between the BP workers and the people actually on this rig working on it. That chemistry, especially, I like to point out, between Kurt Russell and John Malkovich, I think that's how you say his name, is amazing. It's the perfect good guy, bad guy, and that's something you don't expect to see in a movie like this. Just the way the film is crafted overall perfectly represents just disaster and the worst things that could possibly happen continuously repeating. The way it's shot, it's shaky, but sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes that helps a movie. This is one of those instances. There's a scene I like to point out where someone actually falls off of the rig and into a raft, and you're not sure if they're okay. And you can't really tell who it is. And I saw this movie twice, and both times the person I was with leaned over to me and said, "Who is that?" And I said, "I don't know." But you're not supposed to know. You're supposed to be in these characters' shoes. You're supposed to just, everything is running through your mind rapidly. You're not supposed to know what's happening. And Peter Berg does an amazing job doing that. I haven't seen Patriots Day yet. I'm very excited to see it, and this was definitely something that was going to make my top 10. My number 7 is The Lobster. This movie is just the most fucking ridiculous thing you're ever gonna watch. It's so much fun, though. This is a screwball comedy drama romance, if you can even call it a damn romance. It's just, this movie is impossible to describe. I called it a comedy version of The Shining, and if you can picture that, that should be enough to make you want to go see this movie. It features amazing performances the whole way around, from Colin Farrell, Rachel Weisz, Ben Whishaw, Lea Seydoux, John C. Reilly. This is just a great movie, and especially seeing it in theaters with a just group of people that had no idea what the hell they were getting into, bumped that experience so far up there for me. That's why I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. And the ending genuinely leaves you thinking. It leaves you to believe, is the latter half of this movie a complete lie? Like, what really happened? That's really cool to be able to do in a movie. It's directed, I'm not going to try, however you say your name, kudos to you. You did a great job. Again, making a movie, you knew exactly what it was, not worrying about box office, making one of the most original things we've seen in a long time and sticking to it the whole way through. Thank you. Number 6 is Swiss Army Man. Similarly to The Lobster, this is one of the most original movies we've seen in a long time. Keep in mind, this movie is not for everyone. Not everyone is going to enjoy this movie. It doesn't have the best of reviews. But if you really see the message this movie is trying to portray, you're going to get something out of it. Anyone that tells you not to see this because it's just about fart jokes, ignore them and never listen to them about a movie suggestion ever again, because there are deeper layers to this movie about human nature and love and things that you wouldn't expect from a comedy drama starring Daniel Radcliffe and Paul Dano. You just wouldn't. And it's so touching and it's so believable and it makes sense in the end. You really understand this movie that you feel like you shouldn't understand because it's so out of this world, wacky and unbelievable. It doesn't just have those messages though. This is a funny movie. This is a comedy movie that really drives the jokes home. You're genuinely laughing a lot during this film. It has a great screenplay, great directing by, I think they call themselves the Dans. I loved this movie. I walked out of this. I got to see it at a screening. I walked out of this just with a smile on my face and just a touch in my heart. At number 5, we have Captain Fantastic. This is not only just an amazing movie, this is Viggo Mortensen at his best. I believe Viggo Mortensen is one of the most underrated actors of all time. I don't really think enough people know who he is, and you watch his work, and he is amazing. Not just in the Lord of the Rings movies, but you look at something like Eastern Promises, which he is spectacular in, or The Road. He constantly shows up in these spectacular performances, and time and time again, no one sees them. And that's what the most disappointing thing is of all. Because even with Captain Fantastic, not enough people saw this movie. This is a character film, but not just for one character. It's for Viggo Mortensen's entire family. You watch this arc, complete just fill. And that's what's so amazing. You feel for each of these characters. You understand their emotions because they're in a not so normal situation, but the director and the screenwriter and the actors put you perfectly in their scenario that you could never imagine yourself in until you're sitting in the theater perfectly just in-depth delved into this film. That's how you know you've succeeded as a filmmaker. When you can take a not so normal situation and put your audience in those characters' shoes, you know you've done something right, and you feel it when they feel something, and when they reach the end of their arc, you feel like you've been on that journey with them. That's what Captain Fantastic does so well. That's why I love this movie, and I think anyone should watch this. This isn't just it's okay for some people. This is an overall fantastic movie. My number 4 is Manchester by the Sea. This is just real. This is realistic filmmaking at its core. This is how you make a movie that's supposed to be realistic. This is a normal situation, as opposed to something like Captain Fantastic. This is a normal situation that manages to put unnormal characters and layers into it. You feel as though you are watching these people. You're not just watching a movie. You are in this movie. You're observing these characters go through this situation, and that's what's so amazing about it. You're into this. You feel it. Casey Affleck, best performance he's ever given. Like I said in my Oscar predictions, maybe he's doing a similar shtick that he does, but this is at a whole new level with whole new layers to his character. You've got Lucas Hedges in an amazing breakout performance. I know we're going to be seeing him more. Michelle Williams, while not being on screen very often, same thing with Kyle Chandler. They're both excellent. This is just an overall great movie. I think it's going to take screenplay at the Oscars. I think it's, like I said, one of the best movies of the year. It's real, it's raw, it's funny, it's dramatic. This movie has everything it needs, and it's just an amazing viewing experience. Definitely check this one out if you get the chance. Number 3 is Hell or High Water. This is a crime drama that is perfectly melded with some really interesting character depth as well. The contrast and the chemistry between Chris Pine and Ben Foster is really what brings this movie home. Because as they continuously point out throughout this movie, they are completely different people and they're brothers. Ben Foster, for the lack of better words, is fucking nuts. And Chris Pine thinks meticulously, he has reasoning, and there is reasoning behind their motives of robbery. And that's what really puts you into this scenario. That's what makes you feel for the characters more than you would in a different heist movie. That's what sets this one aside. Jeff Bridges brings an amazing performance, which is awesome to see because he hasn't been in a great movie in a long time, and it's awesome to see him bring another great performance that I think he'll get an Oscar nomination for. It's just such a great movie with characters you care about and you learn more about and you feel for, and just a thrilling heist movie. You get to watch these really great heist sequences and even sometimes action sequences that you probably didn't expect going into this movie. It's a great crime, drama, thriller, whatever you want to call it. This is a movie for everybody, and I think everybody should check it out. My number 2 is Arrival. Similarly to Nocturnal Animals, you think about this movie for a really, really long time. It's extremely rare for a film to have one just turning point where everything else in the movie is flipped on its head and makes you just taken aback in your seat. I very rarely have physical reactions to things in movies, but when that happened, I was so blown away. I was physically taken aback. It makes you just see the entire rest of the film in a completely different light, and that's how you make movies. This film is also a perfect representation of show don't tell. That's what you're always trying to accomplish as a filmmaker. A lot of people make fun of movie makers for that, but that's, as a visual art, what you're trying to do. You don't want to just constantly tell the audience what's going on. You want to show it to them. You want to give it to them. You want to say, here it is. We trust you as an audience that you are smart enough to realize this, to visualize it, to think about it, and to uncover it yourself. Not only does it do that in the turning point of this movie, but throughout the entire 2-hour runtime, Denis Villeneuve makes sure that you are a part of this movie. You are genuinely unraveling things as the characters are unraveling them. You're on the same page with them. As they're uncovering this mystery, you're uncovering it. And the performances are absolutely spectacular. Amy Adams bringing a great leading role to this. Jeremy Renner bringing another great performance. He's always a very, very solid supporting actor, as you see in movies like The Town. Forest Whitaker, I love that guy. Respect to you, Forest Whitaker, for everything that you do except for Rogue One. But this is a spectacular movie with a great screenplay, amazing cinematography, and for those of you saying I don't want to see it because it's sci-fi, it's not even that much about the sci-fi. It's about the drama aspect and the more layers between Amy Adams' character and her past and the things. This is, at its core, this is a drama mystery, and the sci-fi is a backdrop. So my number one, similarly to last year, I didn't have to think about this one too hard. This is the movie I came out of with the biggest smile on my face and the best feeling I could have, and just that fist pump, hell yeah. Last year that was Creed, this year it was La La Land. I think Whiplash could be one of my favorite movies of all time. And I was ecstatic for Damien Chazelle's next movie, no matter what it would be. And I'm not a big musical fan. I like some of them, but I'm not, always desperate to go see the newest musical out in theaters. But this just blew me away. They don't make movies like this anymore. That's one of the critic dialogues or quotes that they kept throwing around in the ads for this. But it's true. They don't. This touches on a whole new level of love and human nature that most movies aren't able to accomplish. The script in this movie is so real, despite the fact that it's a musical. Things aren't always going to be a happy ending. This is a relationship at its core, and you truly see that with the development of these characters. The music in this movie is catchy as hell, and you just constantly, during this movie, have a smile on your face. This was the best experience I had in a theater, and I think it's not just the best movie I've seen this year, but probably the best movie I've seen in years. Kudos to you, Damien Chazelle. I love you. Much respect. Please give me a directing class, because So that's it for my top 10 movies of 2016. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think I left out, or what you agreed with, or what you think I should have taken out. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.